Of the many personality characteristics that are commonly encountered in the participants of mountaineering, ambition is perhaps the near unanimous constant amongst all of them. This shouldn't come as much of a shocker to anyone, as it would be near impossible to complete a lofty goal such as summiting a mountain without a healthy dose of ambition. So much so, in fact, that climbing a mountain is often used as a metaphor for overcoming great hardship or manifesting one's ambitions. But, as regular viewers of the channel are aware of, it is this ambition that also drives mountaineers to take big risks or ignore their instincts in pursuit of accomplishing their goal, and many of them lose their lives because of their ambition. Thus, a vital skill for mountaineers to learn is to weigh the potential benefits of continuing on towards the summit against the natural, deadly, and omnipresent dangers they will inevitably face while in the mountains. However, as mountaineers progress with their skills, the baseline risk involved with their ascents also rises, as the path less traveled is usually that way for a reason, as a majority of people looking to summit a mountain will take the path of least resistance, which is most often also the least dangerous path to the summit. However, for those that are willing to push their boundaries for acceptable risk-taking, the payoffs can often be huge, but the significantly lower than average life expectancy for mountaineering's elite is a bleak reminder that with the highest of highs come the lowest of lows. Tomaz Humar was born on February 18, 1969 in the city of Ljubljana in Slovenia. Not much was known about his childhood, although it is known that it was during his childhood that he developed a love for mountaineering. Tomaz was a fiery and independent individual who disliked the concept of expedition climbing as a whole, and he was not keen on giving up his own personal agency or potentially putting his life in another person's hands simply to defer to the decisions of an expedition party leader, and thus he vowed to summit mountains while only following his own rules. And it was because of this maverick mindset that he knew that he would prefer to have a go at his mountaineering adventures alone, if it was at all possible. While this concept seems foreign and unnecessarily risky to a majority of mountaineers, Tomaz was an unusually gifted climber who was also blessed with an almost inhuman level of ambition as well. As an adult, Tomaz began a job at the Ljubljana Customs Office to supplement his increasingly ambitious and frequent climbs. In his early 20s, Tomaz began to garner a name for himself, first within the Slovenian mountaineering community, as he made several first ascents of domestic peaks single-handedly. His alpinist approach to climbing certainly began to pay off for him as he completed successful ascent after successful ascent. However, as his skills and ambitions grew, he knew that he would need to begin seeking out more difficult and higher mountains internationally. In the year 1994, Tomaz began to garner a bit of a buzz within the international mountaineering community when he, alongside his climbing partner, Stane Belek Schrauf, summited a new route on the difficult southeast face of Ganesh 5, a 6,770 meter peak located in Nepal. He would further add to his growing notoriety in 1996 when he completed an ascent of Amadablam, reaching the summit via a new, previously unclimbed route on the peak's northwest face, winning the Piolet d'Or Award, one of the highest awards in mountaineering, for this incredible ascent. However, it was in 1999 Tomaz would attempt a climb so difficult and dangerous that it would propel him from a certainly respected, ambitious, and skilled climber and would cement his legacy as one of the top climbers in the sport of mountaineering. In late October of 1999, Tomaz would attempt an ascent of the notorious south face of Dalagiri, a topic which I briefly touched on in my previous video. In 1999, the south face of the mountain had not yet been successfully summited, as the steep southern face of Dalagiri had quickly and mercilessly repelled and humbled the brave few climbers who had dared attempt to conquer it, Notably, the south face of Dalagiri is particularly deadly, hosting a casualty to attempt ratio of 40%, and for good reason, as the south face of Dalagiri is rife with numerous hazards, including a steep, concave face that is prone to massive avalanches, which are triggered by the numerous large seracs that loom above the face, that potentially could collapse and bring thousands of tons of ice and snow catapulting down the mountainside at virtually any time. Furthermore, there is a huge 300-meter loose rock band at an altitude of approximately 7,000 meters that not only risks collapse and crushing the climbers at any time, but could also crumble beneath the climbers and send them falling to their death down the steep face below. Despite all these hazards, Tomaz was eager to be the first to successfully ascend the face, and on October 25th, he set off from base camp up the mountain on what would surely be an extraordinarily difficult and taxing climb. He made good progress up the lower 4,000 meters of the face before he eventually made it to the loose rock band at approximately 7,000 meters. He attempted to clear it, but was unable to, and traversed right along the rock band to the Japanese route on the ridge. From there, he followed the Japanese route the rest of the way up the ridge to the summit, reaching the top on November 3rd, thus completing the first successful route on the south face of Dalagiri, although notably, a true ascent entirely on the south face has not been completed even as of the making of this video, and is one of the most coveted unclimbed faces in mountaineering to this day. Following this incredible ascent, Tomaz was recognized internationally as one of the most skilled and ambitious climbers in the sport, and with his newfound stardom within the sport, Tomaz would continue to push himself to summit as many mountains and new routes as he possibly could. Over the next decade, he continued to successfully summit a number of impressive mountains at an astonishing pace, and even more impressively, doing a majority of his climbing solo. By the year 2009, he had racked up a jaw-dropping 1,500 successful summits to his name, including 70 first ascents, with many of these first ascents being completed in his native Slovenia. In the late autumn Himalayan climbing season of 2009, Tomaz headed to the slopes of the 7,234 meter peak Tongrong, a steep, imposing mountain located in central Nepal, not too far from the 8,000 meter peak Shishapangma. Similar to Dalagiri, the steep slopes of Tongrong are rife with sharp drop-offs to the valley below, including a 5,500 meter rise in altitude on its west side over a distance of just 16 kilometers. Also, very similarly to Dalagiri, the southern face of the mountain had easily repelled every climber that had been brave enough to attempt to conquer it before. Tomaz, of course, was undaunted by the south face's nasty reputation, and again sought to overcome its numerous hazards to add yet another first ascent to his impressive mountaineering legacy. On October 5th, 2009, he set off for the mountain with a small team to maintain base camp while he attempted a solo ascent of the southern face. After a difficult and laborious ascent up the treacherous south face, against all odds, Tomaz managed to reach the summit on November 9th, 2009. However, that evening, the team at base camp received a call from Tomaz via his satellite phone. Tomaz informed base camp that he was in big trouble, as he had taken a bad fall at approximately 6,300 meters and had broken his leg and spine during the fall and was in dire need of rescue. The following morning, on November 10th, a helicopter and rescue team were dispatched to look for Tomaz on the portion of the mountain he had described on the call. At approximately 10 a.m., base camp received another call from Tomaz. This time, he sounded like he was in much worse condition and was clearly in significant pain, and pleaded with the base camp team member on the other end of the line, quote, "To God, this is my last." This call would be the last time Tomaz was ever heard from again. After spotting no trace of him from the air with the helicopter, the rescue team was dropped off at base camp, and the helicopter retreated back to Kathmandu. By nightfall that evening, the Sherpa rescue team on foot had reached an altitude of 5,800 meters and established a camp there just before nightfall. The next day, on November 11th, the Sherpa team ascended to the point where Tomaz had pointed out in his calls, at approximately 6,300 meters, but again were unable to find any trace of him. The following day, the 12th, the search for Tomaz was temporarily halted as a fierce blizzard lashed the slopes of Tongrong. The next day, the poor weather continued, but hopes of finding Tomaz were boosted with the help of a Swiss chopper team that was dispatched to aid in the search attempt, but unfortunately, snowy conditions and a dense fog that had rolled in impeded the team's efforts. The following day, November 14th, the team were able to fly the helicopters again and were finally able to locate Tomaz at an approximate altitude of 5,600 meters. By the time of his body's discovery, he had been dead for several days, and it was estimated that he likely succumbed to his injuries or exposure, or a combination of both, sometime after his last call to base camp on November 10th. However, fortunately for his family, the rescue team was able to successfully recover his body to return to them, a relative rarity for deaths in the Himalayas. In wake of his passing, the mountaineering world was shaken by the loss of such a talented and gifted climber, who was notorious for his good fortune while in the mountains, which had earned him the moniker of the climber with 9 lives. His legacy within the sport of mountaineering is one of the most impressive and ambitious of all time, and he will forever be remembered by his wife and 2 children, as well as the mountaineering community, for his many outstanding achievements that he miraculously managed to accomplish during his lifetime. Thank you all for watching.